What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Blood on the Razor Wire TV, where we bring it to you real and we bring it to you raw. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, share the video, and make sure you leave a comment. And for all you young dudes out there, man, if you're catching the video, even young chicks, this is going to be a teachable moment, man. I spent almost 20 years of my life in federal prison, became a jailhouse lawyer, very familiar with the federal court system and how the whole criminal justice system works. So today, we're going to teach you some stuff. We're going to talk about what Gucci Mane wrote. We're going to talk about your boy Pooh Shiesty, what type of plea agreement he entered into. I'm going to show you what a judgment of commitment is today. You're going to learn a bunch of stuff. You're going to learn how he ended up getting the time that he got. You know, he was just a young man at the age of 21, got involved in some wild, crazy things, a couple different shootings, and he ends up finding himself in federal court with a Hobbs Act robbery charge, a 924C charge, and he ends up copping out to a 924O, which is, conspiracy with a firearm for a violent crime or whatever, right? So we'll end up pulling out the judgment order. We'll pull all that stuff out. Discharging a firearm in furtherance of a crime of violence. You guys are about to learn a whole bunch of stuff and how the feds really work. The feds do not play no games, man. And just because your boy ended up coming out good, that's not always guaranteed. For the average cat, I'm telling you now, it's not guaranteed. But your boy Pooh Shiesty, he had that bread. He went and got the big dogs. He pulled in Cohen. Cohen's a big shot lawyer down there. You know, big shot lawyers, they're probably all right with the judges. But he ends up copping out. He says, okay, man, I got a plea agreement for you, man. He comes down and he says, man, this is what it is, man. This is a serious case, man. Dude gets shot. We got this other shooting over here in Tennessee. And some people had asked me about that, like, what's up with that other shooting? What's up with that other gun charge? And what happened with the charge over here in Florida, right? The other charge. I think there was 3 different gun cases or shootings. So his lawyer comes out and says, this is what the deal is, man. They're going to offer you a plea agreement. He brings this thing down there, and this is what this is what lawyers are supposed to do. He brings this thing down here, and he calls it a plea agreement. We'll probably post it. He says, here's the plea agreement, brother. This is what the government's talking about, and I'm going to keep it real with you, man. We got no wins. We got no wins, man. You got to take this. If you don't take this and you go to trial, they can give you up to 20 years just on the robbery, right? You got a Hobbs Act robbery. That's 0 to 20 years. So those of you that are out there, man, you might be jacking drug dealers right now. Guess what? They will arrest your ass and take you to federal court. They do it all the time. For dudes that are robbing drug dealers, they get you all the time. They take you over there, they charge you with a 924C, possession of a firearm or furtherance of a drug trafficking crime and or a crime of violence. That's 5 years right there, right? If you just had it. If you pulled that joint out, that's 7. If you discharged it, that's 10. On top of whatever else you're going to get for the robbery. And the robbery is 0 to 20. So you could end up with 30 years, man, when you're out there robbing drug dealers. So think about that. He brings this down there and he reads this part to him. He says, the parties agree to recommend, although not binding on the court, a sentence not to exceed 97 months. That's part of the plea agreement. So I bet your boy's like, damn, man, I got all this violence. Pooh Shiesty's like, man, I can't do no 97 months, Cohen. I done paid you all this money. You got to do something for your boy, man. So he says, well, let me see what I can do, man. Cohen goes in and he pulls out the other big dogs, right? Pulls out Michael Baden. You guys know who he is? He's the doctor. You always see him in all these high-profile celebrity cases. And he ends up writing a letter, man. They get a continuance on the sentencing. That's why he wasn't sentenced when he was supposed to be sentenced. I went and checked out the PACER. So they get a continuance. And he says, man, I need you to put this letter together for my guy, man. So he puts a letter together and he says, Dear Mr. Cohen, I have reviewed the Aventura, Florida Hospital medical court records. He talks about all the court records, right? And he puts this thing together that says pretty much that Mr. Williams, where he was seated, here, I'm going to read it to you. It is my opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty, based on my education, training, and experience, and on the above materials that I have reviewed, that the bullet entered just below the left anterior superior iliac spine, which is in the front side part of the pelvis, and traveled downward. The bullet's entrance, perforation, and downward trajectory in the body is not compatible with it having been discharged by a gun held by Mr. Williams from where he was seated. So they got to do something to mitigate this 97 months. They don't want to walk in there and be like, yo, Judge, man, this guy's from the Wild Wild West. He's shooting shit up. He don't give a shit, Judge. Bang his ass, right? And usually that's what the U.S. Attorney's Office will do. They'll go in there and be like, yo, man, bang this dude. This dude's a bad dude. I mean, if he wasn't some rich dude, some famous dude, you're just an average dude. And I'm telling you this to teach you a lesson. Not to say nothing bad about this kid, but to teach you a lesson, man. They ain't going to play fair with you. You ain't going to get a 97-month plea agreement, probably. Not going to happen. Definitely not going to happen in Florida if you're just a regular old cat with a federal public defender standing next to you on the right, and you're like, can this dude do anything for me? Nah, man. In Florida, they don't play no games. The 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, they don't play no games either. So anyway, they try to mitigate it, right? They go in there, they make some arguments. They put together what's called the sentencing memorandum, and we'll post that. They put together the sentencing memorandum. And in the sentencing memorandum, the lawyer, Cohen, he probably didn't write this. His paralegal wrote it. Probably a guy like me, right? He puts this thing together, and he tells this story, man. You guys want to hear the story? Mr. Williams was raised in Memphis, Tennessee under extreme conditions. His neighborhood, Cane Creek Apartments, is a blighted and dangerous area often described as Memphis's war zone. According to the U.S. News and World Report, most dangerous places in the U.S. 2021 to 2022. Memphis itself is the most dangerous place to live in the United States. Also confirmed by a 24/7 Wall Street study. Gets into all that bullshit, right? Telling the judge how dangerous it is to kind of try to say, like, this kid had a rough upbringing. And keeping it real, he did, man. His story's all too familiar, man. There's too many kids out there, man, with drug-addicted parents, living that life out there because that's the only life that you know, man. You know a life called survival, right? So Mr. Williams described his childhood as rough. His mother was mostly unemployed, and his father was incarcerated for much of the time of his formative years. Mr. Williams remembered visiting his father in prison when he was about 10 years old and described the experience as scary. Man, this revolving door is crazy, isn't it? He has 2 maternal half-siblings and 4 paternal half-siblings. We're going to talk about where old Pooh Shiesty is going to end up in prison at, too. He was closest to his brother, Terrence Baines, but he died of brain cancer in February 2021. Wow, ain't that some crazy shit, man? The following was from paragraph 98 of the PSR. He explained that him and his siblings were unable to reside with their mother as she was unemployed, could not keep the utilities running in the house, and sold the family's food stamps. He additionally recalled that although he did not witness substance abuse in the family home or suffer from any abuse or trauma, he witnessed his mother being physically abused by her long-term boyfriend. There's a whole bunch of shit going on here, man. Mr. Williams has witnessed many murders in his young life, and this is the part that I wanted to really get on. And he has lost many family members and friends to gun violence. He himself was shot twice. Damn, man. At age 14, he was shot in his left forearm in a drive-by shooting at Cane Creek Apartments. Man, life wasn't looking good for this kid, man. 14 years old, you get shot. At 17, he was shot in the upper left arm while attending a local police and community basketball game. This man's at the local community and police basketball game, and they're shooting. Place is probably a war zone for real, right? This kid, gun violence, man, since he was a little kid, right? The game was sprayed with AK-47 gunfire. Mr. Williams was shot, and 2 girls were shot dead at the scene. Man, someone had an angel over this dude, right? Because all the shit that he's been through. At age 11, Mr. Williams first witnessed someone being shot. A man Mr. Williams was with at the time was shot dead. At 16, his best friend, Montrell Crutcher, was shot dead during a robbery. At 17, his close friend Rico Hines was shot dead. That same year, his cousin, Clarence Baines, was shot in the head at a party and died. When Mr. Williams was 18, his former girlfriend, Jamisha Nance, was shot in the head at a nightclub and died. When he was 20, his cousin, Brandon Fleming, was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting. In January 2022, the big brother of Mr. Williams' best friend was shot and killed in Memphis. There were few, if any, positive influences during Mr. Williams' formative years. He began abusing marijuana at 12 and quickly became a daily user. And they get into all this stuff, right? And then they say almost overnight, Mr. Williams went from all that bullshit to becoming a millionaire. Put all that stuff behind him now, right? He's supposed to jump in the driver's seat, man, and hit that gas, man. Take care of your people, man. Change your life, man. Stay out the streets. This man's been blessed many times, man. Many times. He could have been dead just like them little girls, man. But he made it. And he made it for a reason, right? But then he gets involved in this nonsense, man, like far too many people, man. And, we'll read a little bit over here. Rapper Pooh Shiesty is facing more than 8 years in prison after pleading guilty Tuesday to a federal gun charge stemming from 3 shootings during the past 2 years in Tennessee and Miami-Dade County. Montrell Williams Jr., 21, a.k.a. Pooh Shiesty, admitted to conspiring to possessing firearms in furtherance of crime of violence and drug trafficking as part of the plea, the U.S. Attorney's Office in South Florida said in a release. United States District Judge Michael K. Moore Michael K. Moore will sentence Williams at a future hearing. That's all old news according to the signed plea agreement. That's stuff that we talked about. But he ends up going in there, and there's all kinds of stuff floating around, like we talked about this 97 months. You can pretty much guarantee that if he got a 97-month plea with all this shit that's going on, he's probably getting the 97 months, right? But like I said, they pulled out the big dogs. They brought in the doctor to say that he wasn't the shooter. I mean, hey, man, if the judge buyed it, then go ahead and sell it, right? It don't matter. Do what you got to do, homie. Do what you got to do to make sure your ass ain't in jail for 97 months as far as hiring the right doctor, the right lawyers. When you got that money, man, you got it. You got to do it. So then the feds say Williams' charges pertain to 3 different events from July 2020 to May 2021. In July 2020, Williams was with a person who fired a gun inside a car at a gas station in Memphis, Tennessee. I don't see nothing in the federal plea agreement about that gun charge. The people that ask me, are they going to charge him when he gets out of the feds? Listen, man, I've seen wild shit, man, where dudes are walking out and they get arrested and they end up, the kid that I did for the G Shine Bloods, the stuff I did for him, he was in the state. He's about to get out of state prison in New York. G Shine Bloods, one of the big dudes back then, Chazzy. He gets ready to walk out. He's walking out of jail, man. The feds arrest him to take him over to the federal building, and he ends up with life. I end up doing his legal work 20 years later. We get it knocked down to 35 years. But, man, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen to old Pooh Shiesty, but he better be careful, man, if they didn't wrap that shit up. His lawyer should have wrapped that shit up as part of the deal. In July 2020, okay, later in October 2020, Williams, Bobby Brown. Is that old Bobby? I don't think that's Bobby. And Jaden DeRosa arranged to buy marijuana and high-end sneakers from 2 men at the Landon Hotel in Bay Harbor Island. During the deal, Williams and Brown shot the 2 men, one in the hip and the other in the rear end. Hit him with that ass shot. Boop. Brandon Cooper was one of the 2 men shot and was later arrested in a fraud bust. He was one of 8 suspects arrested for allegedly forging checks. So this man's out here. He's caught up in the street, too, doing a bunch of wild shit when he's arrested. It's in the criminal complaint. So you guys know what that is. This is what a criminal complaint looks like. I might post it. Why not, right? This is exactly what a criminal complaint looks like right here. That's where the cops tell the judge all the bad shit that you did. They get you into court. They're getting ready to bang you. He ends up telling them, yeah, man, that was old Pooh Shiesty that shot me. He might have said that, but you know what, man? Dude's out in the street, man. He's stealing people's shit. He's doing what he's doing. And we got Dr. Baden coming over here saying, man, it wasn't him. So, Judge, you should go ahead and not bang him with this 97 months. You should give him a sentence that's sufficient but not greater than necessary to achieve the goals of sentencing. And the judge says, you know what? Under 18 U.S.C. 3553A, I think a sentence of 63 months is sufficient but not greater than necessary to achieve the goals of sentencing. He hits him with the sentence. They send him back over to Miami-Dade. But he also pulled out the other big dogs. Your boy Gucci, man, writes a letter. You guys want to hear it? This is the stuff that gets attached to a sentencing memorandum. He's pleading to the judge, man, for leniency, man. Don't give my boy no 97 months, man. He's got a career out here. This kid, he made some bad choices, but, man, go ahead and don't bang him. Your Honor, my name is Radrick Davis. Hope I said that right. I am an entertainer. My entertainment moniker is Gucci Mane. I have known Lontrell Williams for some time and have him signed to a record deal with my label, supported by Atlantic Records. Lontrell is a solid young man that has made some bad decisions in his life, and I understand more than anyone that he must be held accountable. I understand that he witnessed and experienced a lot in his young life, all those things we talked about. I believe that led him to make some poor decisions. I know this firsthand as I did almost 3 years in federal custody, and it changed my life forever. Because of the judge's leniency in my case, I got sober, married, and changed my life for the better upon being released. I'm hoping you will show this young man some leniency as well. I will help Lontrell and be part of a support system that can help him make the right decisions. I'm hoping he gets the chance to at least continue his career and get used to it in a positive way. And get to use it in a positive way. He has many young fans that I believe that can make a difference in their life if given the chance. Typo error, but it's all right, Gucci. Again, I respect the fact that he has to get some punishment, but I ask that it doesn't end his career and his chance of changing other people's lives for the better. I know with my help, he can use his platform to uplift his community and be a contributing member to society. Thank you for taking the time to read my comments. Roderick Davis. So Gucci put in the word, man. They pulled out the other big dogs from Atlantic. Julie Greenwell wrote a letter. Michael Kushner wrote a letter. They're like, yo, man, don't bang this kid, man. Give him a shot. these are all the rich and influential people, man. These are all the important people, man. But if you got that public defender, your ass is getting that 97 months, especially in Florida, man. Texas, Alabama, you might get more than the 97 months. But, that's your boy, man. Pooh Shiesty. And they also make a recommendation. Where's Pooh Shiesty going to go to prison, Chad? And tell us a little bit about what it's going to be like when he gets there. I mean, these are some of the comments, right? So on this thing called the judgment of commitment, man, this is where the judge, man, she makes it all official. She signs this thing, puts your sentence on there. She sends it over to the U.S. Marshals. Those are the people that are going to transport you. She says 63 months as to count one. The court makes the following recommendations to the Bureau of Prisons. Designation to Forest City, FCC, and Forest City, Arkansas. So let me keep it 100 with you. When a judge makes a recommendation, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, sometimes they listen, sometimes they don't give a shit what the judge says. So your boy might end up in Coleman. He might end up in Jessup in Georgia. He might end up in Yazoo. I'm going to say it's going to be either Yazoo or Forest City. He's probably going to end up in one of them two. Remember I said that? Let's find out. He's still in Miami right now, but the marshals will be there one day, very soon. Maybe next week we'll check the inmate locator and we'll keep you updated. They're going to knock on the door and say, hey, sir, Mr. Williams, pack your shit. 2 a.m. You're out of here, man. Pack your shit. You're leaving. He's going to get up, probably get his little commissary together that he's still got in his cell, leave it to his homie. Hey, man, I'm gone, man. I'm out of here, man. Go out there. He's going to go out there and get on that bus. They may take him to Atlanta. They might take him to Oklahoma. If he goes through Oklahoma, he's probably going to be one of the worst county jails you could ever be in. It's called Grady County Jail. The food is absolutely disgusting. Worst shit I ever tasted in my life. Definitely don't ever want to go back there. If you ever end up there, that'll make you change your life. But hopefully, man, this kid gets out of jail, right? And does the right thing. He's going to get out of jail. But I hope he gets out and does the right thing. I hope he can resume his rap career. I know he was taking care of his father. They got a grocery store that they bought that they put together for like $550,000. Hopefully that thing works out, man. Hopefully this kid can still make music, put a couple dollars in his pocket. But the biggest lesson here is what, man? This man's 21 years old, man. You're out in the street, you got a gun on you, and you're shooting people, allegedly. I mean, he pled guilty, but allegedly shooting people or whatever. And, man, you got all this bread, man. And that's why this is a teachable moment, man. You're on top right now, man. You shouldn't be out buying those sneakers from some dude out at night, man, or out in a parking lot, man. For what? You shouldn't be out there, you smoke a little weed, doing your thing. Man, send someone else to get that, man. You're the man, my boy. You don't go out there and do that type of stuff because this is the type of shit that happens. It only takes one thing, man. One thing to happen to change your life forever. What happens if a dude had got hit in the head, man? And I told you this plenty of times. I've seen dudes, and there's plenty of dudes out here, man, think they're going to shoot someone and not kill them, and they accidentally kill them. They didn't mean to kill them. They just meant to shoot them. People in prison, they didn't mean to kill you. They meant to stab you, man, somewhere, and you get to fighting back, and next thing you know, they hit you in the heart, and now you're dead, and they got a murder charge. Could have easily been him, man. The judge could have easily been saying, Mr. Williams, I hereby sentence you to life in prison. And I hope that never happens to you. Hope it never happens to him. But that's our little spill on your boy, man, Pooh Shiesty. Blood on the Razor Wire TV. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. With respect, until tomorrow, we're out.